Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom. The brother endured with the fishermen for Zion. We give all praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose real name is Yahweh Shai. Right? Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Honors to the elders and apostles that have been pushing out this word from the foundation of the world, that rule well in their stead. Shalom to the brothers that go out to the four corners of the earth, that sacrifice their life in meekness and sincerity to bring out this word to our people in these last days. Another shalom to the men that's not going out, but they getting their household in order, getting their spirit right, so that they can go out in these last days and be the fishermen and be watchmen and be diligent in bringing out this word. Shalom to them. Shalom to the Aqua, the sisters that's out there being daughters of Sarah, coming back to the Most High, repenting, um, and being keepers at home. And also, can't forget about the children that's being brought forth in these last days. Shalom to the mighty young princes of the earth that's being brought forth in this wicked place we call Babylon. Shalom, shalom, Israel. We're going to go through a lesson. Where is the tribe of Dan, right? A lot of people ask this question. If anybody come in on the live, let me know if you can hear me, through the spirit. But yeah, like I was saying through the spirit, a lot of people ask, where's the tribe of Dan? Right? They look at the 12 tribes chart and they say, well, I remember reading about Dan, he's one of the sons of Israel. Where's he at? What's going on? Why you guys don't have him on the sign? So real quick, let me pull up we on the stream yard. So those of you that know what's going on, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are the Israelites according to the Bible. And a lot of people have been seeing us push this word on the four corners, on the highways and the byways, and they see this chart, and they have questions. So I'm gonna pull up this image through the spirit if I can. You gotta bear with me. I'm not that tech savvy, but we working on it. Let me see if I can get this pulled up real quick. Bear with me. Let me see. Share screen. Share. All right. All right, so we sharing the screen through the spirit. All right, so a lot of people, they see this this chart that I got pulled up right here. Let me see if I get a better one. All right, this chart right here where you see the sons of Israel, right? You see Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulun, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Issachar, Naphtali, right? A lot of people see that chart and they're saying, well, something that should be wrong. Something is wrong with that chart. Something is wrong. What's going on? Right? Why are we not reading about Dan? Where's Dan? A lot of people say the 13 tribes of Israel. So a lot of people, they kind of don't know what's going on, right? So we're here to clear up the confusion, right? We're here to clear up the confusion. Is the screen still sharing? Let me see. All right, I don't think it's sharing. All right. But if you didn't see it, just look up the 12 tribes of Israel chart, right? And you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so we're going to go through the prophecies today about the tribe of Dan. Where is the tribe of Dan through the spirit? All right, so let's bring it out. So let's go to the book of Exodus. All right, we're going to go to Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. All right, so let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. And it reads, Right? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it reads, "Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob." Right? So this is when we were exiled into the Egyptian captivity. Everybody knows this history. Everybody knows about this story. Everybody knows about Moses and how he freed his people. Right? Now, these people that we're about to read about, they're still on the earth. Right? Everybody know about Noah and the flood and his sons and how they repopulated the earth. Right? This generation and these nations of people are still on the earth. Everybody that you read about in Exodus, you read about the ancient Egyptians, you read about the Israelites, these people are on the earth right now, right? Their descendants are on the earth. They didn't die off, right? They didn't die in a famine. All of these nations are on the earth, right? And that's why the Lord said this real quick precept in the book of Ecclesiastes. Right, let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, right? Because the people that you're reading about in the scriptures after the flood, right? Those people and those people that formulated nations, they're still on the earth. So let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4 and verse 16. Right? This Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 16. Right? It says, "There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him." Right? So the Lord just said that there's no end of all the people. What does that mean? That means that the people that you're reading about in these scriptures, their spirits are still on the earth, right? On a deeper level. And at the same sense, the Lord didn't do away with these people. You have these scientists and these modern day physicists and all of these people with these names that go around to different nations and they try to figure out, well, who's who, right? Well, where are the people that, where are the ancient chosen people? And they said, well, they must have died off. We don't know where they at, right? But guess what? Everybody's still on the earth, right? They just don't want you to know who they are. So the Lord just said that there's no end of all the people. So the people that we're about to read about in Exodus chapter 1, and the Lord and the Most High put the Spirit on me to go through this because somebody came up to camp and asked this question and they kind of ran away, right? They kind of didn't stay for the answer, right? And we was kind of going over it last night, with our camp. So, the Most High put the Spirit on me to bring this out, right? So call Allah Yahweh Bashim Hawashah. So let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 1, right? In verse 1. And let's read it. This is the book of Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. And it reads, "Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob." And if you don't know who the children of Israel are by now, you know, guess what, man? You need to wake up, right? The children of Israel are so-called Black Hispanics and Native Americans of Israelite descent that scattered everywhere across the four corners of the earth. I mean, they're just everywhere, right? They're scattered everywhere. They're in every nation, right? They speak different languages. They come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, right? But they are a royal bloodline, a chosen bloodline that the Lord chose from the foundation of the world, right? Now, let's see who these people are, right, that Moses delivered out of Egypt. Right, real quick, verse 2, it says, "Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher." Right? So these are all the children of Israel which were in Egypt that built the pyramids. Also, these are the nation. This is the nation that the Lord saved out of Egypt, right? So, what did the Lord tell the Israelites? What did He tell this nation of people? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, right, real quick, right? Because a lot of people think that Dan is not here with us anymore, right? Because they jump to the so-called New Testament and they don't read about Dan. They say, well, Dan must have died off, right? He must have been reduced. What happened to Dan, right? This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. Well, I'm going to read verse 46. And it reads, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 46. Now, these are the curses that the Lord will put on the Israelites, right? But let's see what the Lord said to him. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 46. It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign, right? Meaning the curses that the Lord put on the Israelites is on the children of Israel for a sign, for you to identify who they are. It says, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, right? Upon thy seed forever, right? So how could Dan die off and not be here anymore when the Lord just said that the Israelites, these curses are going to be upon the Israelites forever? And he said on Dan forever because he is with them, right? Dan was in Egypt, right? Dan was building up the pyramids in Egypt. Dan was in captivity and slavery. Dan was with Judah, man, right? So this tribe of people is still within the nation of Israel, right? And we're going to show you exactly where they are in 2021, right? A lot of people say, well, you can't prove that, where they at in 2021. No one knows, right? You say, well, I've searched and, I went to Hawaii. I went to Kuwait. I went to Iraq. I went to the land of Israel and I couldn't find it. How could you know where they are? Nigga, man, right? Hey, what did the Lord say? Right, let's go to the book of Amos. All right, let's go to the book of Amos real quick. Right, because the Lord told us what? That he will reveal these things to us in the last days. Right? That's what the Lord said, man. Take that up with the Most High. Right, this is the book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 7. It says, surely the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets, right? Meaning what? The Lord is not going to move or do any acts of judgment, or he's not going to do any acts of deliverance until what? All of his secrets are issued out from the mouth of his servants, the prophets. That's what the Lord said, right? So it has to come out of the servant's mouth first, and then the Lord is going to perform these acts, right? And I'm going to read that again through the Spirit, right? Turn this down a little bit, right? This is the book of Amos, chapter 3, and I'm going to read verse 7 again. It says, surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing but revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. So the men of the Lord that he chose from the foundation of the earth, they have to receive the Holy Spirit in these last days, and they have to issue out the prophecies and the judgments and everything that's going to take place on the earth. That's what's wrong with the world, right? Nobody deals with the prophecies that the Most High has issued out, man. The prophecies is the reason why you see the earth in its form today, right? That's why we here. Everything that you see that's going on is all predicated upon the prophecies that the Lord put on his servants, the prophets, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 55 and verse 11, right? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 55 and verse 11, right? Let's see what the Lord said. It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it, right? Meaning what? Whatever the Lord said, you best believe is going to happen, right? It's not going to come back to the Most High void. The Lord is not going to issue out some prophecy and some judgment, and then, you just say, well, yeah, the Lord said that, but, he said a lot of things, right? Just don't worry about that one right there. No, man, you can't do that. But guess what? If you go to the Christian church, that's how they operate. right? Don't worry about what Isaiah said, right? Don't worry about Isaiah 14:1, right? Don't worry about Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, right? Those days are over. Don't worry about the whole book of Obadiah, right? They do away with the prophecies, right? But that's going off, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, right? You cannot avoid prophecy, right? Prophecy is number one in all things. And this is going to tell you why. This is the book of Revelation, chapter, bear with me. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19, right? And I'm going to start at verse 10. I'm going to start at verse 9, right? This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 9. And it reads, "And he saith unto me, Write, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb," right? Which is the elect, right? The Israelites. It says, "And he hath said unto me, These are the true sayings of the Most High. And I fell at his feet and worshiped him. And he said unto me," right? This is the angel speaking to John the Revelator, exile on the Isle of Patmos, right? And what did the angel say? "See thou doeth it not. I am thy fellow servant and thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai, worship the Most High." Right? This is the point. It says, "For the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy." So if you void prophecy, you voiding the Son of Man. You voiding the Messiah, right? You're doing away with his word. And the Lord told you, "Here, lo, I come in the volume of the book," in the book of Hebrews, the 10th chapter, I believe, right? He said he comes in the entire volume of the book. "Lo, it is written of me to do thy will, O Yahweh," right? So prophecy is number one above all things. So you can't avoid and void prophecy, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter, let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 48. Right, let's see what else the Lord said. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 48 and verse 3. And it reads, "I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth. I showed them, I did them suddenly, and they came to pass." Right? So the Lord already set up the end from the beginning. Right? Anytime that you see these last days prophecies, these prophetic things happening, the Lord already scribed this from the foundation of the world. It was already written, right? People say that in the world, "Oh, well, it was written," right? I think the rapper Nas has a song, right, saying it was pretty much predicating and saying that, right? But where did the world get that from? They get that from the scriptures, right? But they don't want to tell you about the prophecies. So let's find out what the tribe of Dan is, right? So let's go to the book of Genesis, right? Let's go to the foundation and let's see what the Lord said, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 48, right, in verse 8, right? And it reads, right? Matter of fact, before we get Genesis 48 and 48, 48, let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 30, right? Let's see about Dan's inception, right? Let's find out how he even got here. Right, Genesis chapter 30 and verse 3. Right, this is the book of Genesis chapter 30 and verse 3. Let's read it. It says, I'm going to start at verse 4. Right, well, I'm going to read verse 3. It says, "And she said, Behold, my maid, Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her." Right? Verse 4. "And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, and Jacob went in unto her." Right? So Jacob had a concubine, right, so to speak, right? And his wife was like, what, go in into her, right? Bear her a child. right? Verse verse 5. And it says, Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son, and Rachel said, God, Yahweh hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice. He hath given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan, right? So Dan was conceived by a handmaid or a concubine, right? And the concubine, she was well pleased with that because in the ancient world, you was looked frowned upon if you didn't bear children, right? If you didn't have a child, it was like, you kind of worthless. So that's why she named him Dan, because, through the spirit, she really wanted that child, right? And she knew that Jacob was a mighty man. So that's why she named him Dan, which means in the Hebrew, Yahweh judged me, right? So to speak, right? Or God has judged me, right? So let's go to Genesis chapter 35, right? Which is going to say the same thing. Genesis 35 and verse 22, right? And it reads, And it came to pass when Israel dwelt in the land of Reuben, went and laid with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12, right? And so he was going off, right? He broke the commandments. And it says, verse 24, the sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin, and the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali, right? So Dan is one of the sons of Jacob, right? And we know that Jacob got the blessing, and his sons are going to get the kingdom of heaven, right? Now, all of the confusion comes in when you jump to the so-called New Testament. You may read Revelation chapter 7, and you don't see Dan in there, right? Matter of fact, let's get that real quick before we even kind of break it down, right? Revelation chapter 7, and I'm freestyling through the spirit, right? Pray this essence be edifying to the saints abroad that are meek and sincere. So this is Revelation chapter 7 and verse 4. Right? And it reads, and this is the elect, right? This is John the Revelator about to tell you about the future kings and the priests on the earth and these elect sons that are going to be sealed in the kingdom. It says, of the tribe of, verse 4, this Revelation chapter 7 and verse 4. And I heard a number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000, and all the tribes of the children of Israel. Verse 5. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. Right? And these are the sons of Israel, but you don't read about Dan. Let's find out why. Let's go to Genesis chapter 48. Right? And we're going to start at verse 8. Right? This is the book of Genesis, chapter 48 and verse 8. Right? And it reads, this is Genesis 48 and 8, and it reads, and Israel brought Joseph's son and said, who are these? And Joseph said unto his father, these are my sons whom the Most High hath given me in this place. And he said, bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. Right? So Joseph has these sons, right? And these are not the sons of Israel, right? Because Joseph is a son of Israel, right? Now, the names of his sons, we're gonna skip up a few verses and then we're gonna go back down. I'm gonna start at Genesis 49, 48 and 1, and it reads, and it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, behold, thy father is sick. And he took him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, right? So Manasseh and Ephraim is the two sons of Joseph, right? Now Joseph's father is Jacob, right? Israel, that's his father, right? Now let's read the account, which is a prophecy, right? In which the Lord told Joseph, right? We're going to start back at verse 8. This is Genesis 48 and verse 8. And it reads, it says, and Israel beheld Joseph's sons and said, who are these? And Joseph said to his father, these are my sons, whom the Most High hath given me in this place. Now, Israel is pretty, he's up there in age at this time, right? He's up there in age, he's a little older, right? He's moving a little slower, right? He's not that mighty man that he once was when he fought the angel and got his name Israel. He's not that man at this time, but he's still mighty in prophecy, and he's one of the elect, right? And let's see what he said. It says, and he said, bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. So he said, bring your sons unto me, right? And I'm going to bless them. So he's going to touch them and put his hands on them, man. Kind of like how the Christian church try to do today, right? Bring your children up to the church, and the Christian pastor put his dirty, stinking chicken fingers on the children, man, right? But guess what? This is an ancient account of what our forefather did to the nation of Israel, right? And let's see what he said. Verse 10. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, Yahweh hath showed me also thy seed. Right? So Israel, he's getting in the spirit at this moment, right? Something mighty is about to take place, right? Verse 12, and Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth, right? So he humbled himself because he knew that this was a real spiritual moment, right? Verse 13, and Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh his left hand towards Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. I'm gonna read verse 13 again. It says, and Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand towards Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. Right? Verse 14. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid his hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head. So Israel, our forefather, took his right hand and laid it upon the head of Ephraim. Right? Reading on. Who was the younger, in his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his father wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. Right? So the Israel put his right hand on the youngest head, right? Now you know that your right hand is spiritual, right? You got right, you got left, you got up, you got down, right? Now your right hand is real spiritual. That's why, let me get a quick precept on that in the book of Matthew, right? About your right hand. Right. And there's many precepts about your right hand, but we're gonna get just one, right? Possibly through the Spirit. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 20, and verse 20. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 20, and verse 20, I believe. Right? Verse 20, and it says, then came the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. Right? So these are one of the sons of Israel. They came and saw Yahweh Shai, right? And they was excited to see the Lord, right? Verse 21. It says, and he said unto her, what wilt thou? This is Yahweh speaking. And she said unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit thee, one on thy right hand and the other on thy left in the kingdom. So this woman said, listen, can you take my sons, right? And can you teach them, and can you kind of take them with you and let them see all the things that you do? And she said, I want you to put one on your right side and the other one on your left side. Let's see what the Lord said. It says, verse 22, but Yahweh answered and said, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of? And to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? That unto him we are able. Right? So the Lord he pretty much corrected her, like, you really don't know what you asking. You really don't know what you signing your sons up for. Right? And then you're saying sit one on your right hand and one on the left. You kind of don't know what you're talking about. Right? Because you really want to be on the right hand of the Lord. Right? Not to get too deep. Right? So that's just a precept to show you that the right and your left, that's a spiritual account. Right? So we going back to Genesis 48. Right? And we're picking up where we left off. This is Genesis chapter 48. And I'm going to read verse 12 again. And it reads, this is Genesis 48 and verse 12. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took both of Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand towards Israel's right hand, and brought them nearer to him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hand wittingly. And Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, Yahweh, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the Most High, which fed me all my life long unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evils, bless the lads, right? And let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. So the prophecy is Isaac put his name on those children. Now, those children would technically be like the cousins of Israel, right? Technically. But the prophecy is the Lord put the spirit on our forefather Jacob, and he put his name on those children. So he adopted those children into the nation of Israel, right? That's literally what that means. And that's why the Lord, and I'm going to read it again, that's why the Lord said this in verse 16. I'm going to read verse 15 again. It says, and he blessed Joseph and said, the Most High, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the Most High, which fed me all my life long unto this day. Right? So he's letting you know, hey, this is the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh, who even allowed me to have the strength to be able to fight that angel and get granted this blessing, which is eternal life, salvation, being immortal. Right? And this is what he said following that statement, verse 16. The angel which redeemed me from all evil, right? Which is really talking about the chosen man, Adam, right? Because we had all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom, and then we fell as a nation. That chosen man fell, right? Through subtlety, and the Most High redeemed us from all of that evil, from everything that we seen when we were naked, right? And exposed to wickedness, right? But not to get too deep, but that's what it's talking about. It says, verse 16, bless the lads and let my name be named on them. Right? So he said, let my name be named on them, talking about Ephraim and Manasseh. And it says, and the names of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac. So he's stamping it, right? So he's letting you know, not just him, the man Israel, but he's talking about that blessing, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why the Lord said this real quick precept. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 22. Because a lot of people don't know that who the Lord Yahweh, or who the Most High God, who he's the God of, and the people that he's dealing with. That's why the Lord said this quick precept. It's Matthew chapter 22 and verse 32. It says, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. Right? So he's only the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's why Genesis chapter 48, verse 16, it says, and the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them. Salakia, in the name of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Right? So the Lord just adopted those two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, into the sons of Israel. So they're now Israelites, right? Now, this is what you call the adoption. A lot of people say, well, all nations are adopted, so on and so forth. No, only people that were technically adopted in was Ephraim and Manasseh. And these were the cousins of Israel, right? These were the sons of Joseph, right? That's why Romans chapter 9 tells you that the adoption belongs to Israel, right? Let's get that real quick. In the book of Romans, the 9th chapter. Nobody else was adopted in. The Edomites was not adopted in, right? The Moabites, none of those guys were adopted in. The heathen nations were not adopted in, right? Only we were adopted in, the Israelites, right? We were the Gentiles because we fell off after this, and he adopted us back to the Father, right? He brought us back to the fold, right? This is Romans chapter 9 and verse 4. It says, who are Israelites to whom pertaineth the adoption? So the adoption pertains to the Israelites, right? And the other things that it lists after that. And you can read that on your own, right? So Genesis chapter 48 and verse from verse 9 to verse 16 is crystal clear, right? It just showed you about how the Lord adopted these two sons into the nation of Israel, right? Now let's prove that even more. Let's go to the book of Numbers. All right, let's go to the book of Numbers. That's why the Lord said prophecy, you got to deal with prophecy. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 31. I'm going to read verse 32. And this is why the Lord said this. This is Numbers 1 and 32. Of the children of Joseph, namely of the children of Ephraim, right? By their generations and their families, by their house of their fathers, right? So when you're reading about Joseph, you're reading about Ephraim, because Ephraim was adopted into the fold. He was adopted into that elect sons of Israel, right? Let's get another one in the book of Numbers, chapter 26. Numbers 26, and I think verse 28. Right? This is the book of Numbers, chapter 26, and verse 28. And it reads, right? It says, Numbers 26 and 28, the sons of Joseph after their families were Manasseh and Ephraim, right? So the sons of Joseph were Manasseh and Ephraim, right? Manasseh and Ephraim. Now, where are they at pertaining to them receiving salvation? All over the place. Anytime you hear about the Lord is going to save all of Israel, guess what else you're reading about, right? You're reading about Dan, right? You're reading about these things, right? Now, this is why the Lord said this. Let's go to the book. of let's go to the book of Acts real quick. All right, let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 13. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse 23. Right, real quick precept to prove that. This is the book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse 23. It says, of this man's seed hath the Most High, according to his promise, raised unto Israel a Savior, Yahweh Shai. Right? So that seed is pertaining to all of Israel, right? And we know that Dan is a part of all of Israel, right? He's a part of that seed, right? But now we have to show you what happened and where Dan is in regards to the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, right? So the prophecy in Genesis 48, right, let you know that Ephraim and Manasseh were grafted in, right? Now let's find out where they are. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. All right, let's go to the book of Ezekiel. All right, let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 48, and we're going to read verse 30. All right, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 48 and verse 30, and it reads, all right, Ezekiel 48 and verse 30. It says, and these are the goings out of the city of the north side, 4,500 measure, right? So this is giving you the formation of the kingdom, right? You know, we're going to have things in order. We're going to be in formation. You know, things are going to be set up right? Read the book of Numbers, chapter 10, and look how Moses and Aaron were setting up the nations and the armies, and how we went out to battle and how we went out to war, right? The kingdom of heaven is going to be in order. We're not going to have division in the nation anymore. We're not going to have a southern kingdom against northern kingdom. The curses are going to be lifted off of us, man. Everybody in the nation should be praying that the curses be lifted off of us, man. Right? Every day. We're one day closer, 1 second closer to the curses being lifted off of us that have been a heavy burden on us as a people, man, for a very long time. Right? Now let's see what the Lord said about the tribe of Dan. Right? This is the book of Daniel. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 47 and verse 30. It says, and these are the goings out of the city on the north side, 4,500 measure. And the gates of the city shall be after the names of the tribes of Israel. Right? 3 gates northward, 1 gate of Reuben, 1 gate of Judah, 1 gate of Levi, and the east side, 4,500, 3 gates, and 1 gate of Joseph, 1 gate of Benjamin, 1 gate of Dan. So Dan is going to have a gate in the kingdom. That's clear, right? Now, let's see the prophecy again that the Lord prophesied about, just like in Genesis, the 48th chapter. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 47, and verse 13. And it reads, right? Listen to this. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, there shall be the border whereby ye shall inherit. This is Ezekiel chapter 47 and verse 13. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, this shall be the border whereby ye shall inherit the land according to the 12 tribes of Israel. It says, Joseph shall have 2 portions, right? So Joseph was granted that he was going to have 2 portions, right? What does that mean, right? If Joseph has 2 portions, who are those 2 portions, right? It's his sons that were adopted into the nation, right? And guess who is among those tribes, right? Dan is scattered amongst the northern kingdom, right? Ephraim and Manasseh. That's where Dan is, right? Dan didn't die off, all right? Dan is not under the water somewhere, right? He didn't jump off a ship and say, well, we can't take this anymore. Let's jump off a ship. Slavery is too terrible, too tough for us, right? We don't want to deal with slavery anymore, right? I know we were granted salvation, but, let's not do this thing anymore. No, Dan is here, right? Dan is scattered among the four corners of the earth, right? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah chapter 3. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 3. And I'm going to read verse 17. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 17. And the whole Jeremiah, the third chapter, is a real good chapter, right? But I'm going to just get to the point. Verse 17, it says, at that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all nations shall be gathered unto it. To the name of the Lord, to Jerusalem, neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart. So the Lord is going to restore the nation of Israel, and we're going to have the holy kiss of promise, and we're going to have the laws on our inner parts when we're sanctified after the wilderness, right? And the Lord is going to destroy the heathen nations for us, and he's going to make us pure again, right? And we're going to be back in our land. And this is what the Lord said, verse 18. It says, in those days, now it just gave you a future prophecy. Now it's going to jump back in time. It says, verse 18, in those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your father. So from verse 17, it just told you what's going to be happening in the kingdom of heaven. And then Jeremiah just dove back in time and just told you what's going to happen before the kingdom of heaven, right? And you read a lot of the prophets did that. Jeremiah did it. Isaiah did it. Ezekiel, John the Revelator did it. And damn near every chapter in the book of Revelation, right? So I'm going to read it again. Verse 18, it says, in those days, the house of Judah, which is the so-called black man that's scattered everywhere, the Haitian man, the West Indies, right? The Negroes, so-called, right? That's the house of Judah. It says, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. And the house of Israel is who? That's the northern kingdom, right? That's the house of Ephraim, right? That's the house of Manasseh, right? That's Zebulun, right? That's Issachar, Naphtali, Gad, right? Reuben, right? That's the whole house of Israel. It says, they shall come together out of the land of the north, right? The land of the north is north of Jerusalem, which is what the world calls North America or your new world, right? It's this whole new world, this westernized world in which we're living in today, right? Which is Babylon the Great. It said that we're going to be with our brothers, and we're going to be taken out of the land of the north, where at? To the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers, which is Israel, right? Which is Jerusalem, Yasha Allah, right? So where's the tribe of Dan? Dan is scattered amongst the northern kingdom, right? And Dan has a gate. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 7 and verse 5. And it reads again, right? Verse 4. And it says, and I heard the number of them that were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of Israel. Now, Dan is scattered among the northern kingdom, right? Dan is scattered amongst Ephraim, Manasseh, right? Reuben, Gad, Zebulun, right? Now, Dan is still here, right? Can we look and identify and say, oh, well, he's from the tribe of Dan? No, you can't do that, man. All right. You literally can't do that. No man on the earth right now has the power, the spiritual powers to say, oh, that man is from the tribe of Dan. That's why the Lord said this. Let's go to the book. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 12. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 12. And it reads, "For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known." So now the Lord only gave us an elect amount of spiritual powers, right? We only have an elect amount of anointing to go inside of these scriptures and to resurrect the dead, right? We're not resurrecting the dead like how we were doing in the ancient world, right? We're not taking our hands and, and putting it on people and they're actually being revived from the molecules of their body, of their so-called membrane in their heart being stopped, blood stopped pumping. And then when we touch them, we're like a spiritual defibrillator and they kind of just resurrect and live again. We're not doing that, man, right? But spiritually, we're doing that, right? We can go to the projects and wake up Tyrone and Shaniqua that was breaking all type of commandments by this living word, right? And we can only do it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, right? This is the book of Revelation. Well, let me get one more precept on that real quick. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, right? Because our prophet said the same thing. This is Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 34. And it reads, "And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered." This is talking about all of the sons of Israel, right? Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, Manasseh, Dan, the house of Joseph, the house of Manasseh, right? All of the Israelites are going to be taken from among the people wherever they were scattered, right? Real quick, let me hold that and get the book of Isaiah, right? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11. Let's see what the Lord said. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 11. And it reads, "And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left." Now the Lord, the first time is when he destroys Babylon, aka America, in 1 hour. You can read about that in Revelation, right? He's going to destroy America, and it's only going to take him 1 hour to do that. And as that's happening, he's going to save the elect out of America, right? In the Americas. Now, the second time, he's going to come back and deliver his people too. And let's see where these people are going to be at. It said that are left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam, right? And from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea, right? So you got a lot of our people that scattered everywhere from the islands of the sea. Dan could be in the islands of the sea, right? Dan is over here as well, right? But you can have some of the Danites over in the islands of the sea, right? There's a so-called article that was out a while ago where there was they called them some indigenous people on an island that Esau has never been in. Esau is a so-called white man, and they said the so-called white man went over there and they put him to death on sight. Now those could have been Jakes, we don't know, right? They could have been Danites, we don't know, right? But Dan is scattered amongst Judah, Ephraim, Manasseh, we everywhere. We was in captivity together, like Jeremiah told us in Jeremiah chapter 3, right? So the Lord is going to save the elect from the four winds of the earth, including Dan. We're going back to Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 34. This is Ezekiel 20 and 34. "And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Right? The Lord is going to beam out the rebels that are among us. Right? The people that don't want to keep the commandments and don't want to kind of do this thing, just like he did in Egypt. Right? You have rebels, right, that scoffed against Moses and Aaron. Same thing is going to happen again. Right? People are not going to want to be in the wilderness. That they're going to kind of want to go back to Babylon. They're going to be wanting Gatorade and candy. Right? You're gonna have men that saying, "Well, I want a Snickers bar, man." Right? And when the Lord is saving us from the destruction of America, from GMO foods and all of that, we're about to get resurrected again and be holy again, and have all manner of clean air, clean foods, and everything. And you're gonna have people that's gonna be wanting Gatorade. Right? You're gonna have people that's gonna be wanting a tiny house, right? Well, I want my tiny house in America, right? So the Lord got to do away with these people. You got to nip it in the bud. So that's what's going to happen again. What else? It says, verse 35, and I will plead with you in the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I plead with your fathers in the wilderness and the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord. Right? So we're going to see the Lord face to face, and he's going to tell us everything, right? All the mysteries, right? He's going to show you, what tribe you're from, right? You're going into the gate of Dan, right? Hey, you're going into the gate of Judah, right? Hey, you're going into the gate of Gad. Right? He's going to show us all of these things, right? And you should be striving to see that day. You want to see the mysteries. You want to see, all of the secret vaults that the Lord has hid from us, man, right? And there's other places on the earth that we never been to before. And guess what? The Lord is going to show us all of these things when he comes back. And he's going to show us exactly who and where the tribe of Dan is, right? But we know where the tribe of Dan is. It's the book of Revelation. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 21 and verse 12. And it reads, it says, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Right? And guess what? Dan has a gate, right? Because Ezekiel told you that, right? And his gate is going to be specifically chosen by him because he's scattered amongst the northern kingdom, right? And with that, Kwame Yashala, keep the commandments. Dan is going to have a gate into the kingdom of heaven, and I pray that somebody was edified on this lesson, right? And with that, I say, Shalom.